Okay, guys, I'm on slide 30. I went ahead and drug some of these inequality symbols over just to save time since my computer's really slow. But we have a negative 1.2 and a 0.8. Positive numbers are always going to be greater, so the correct symbol would be less than. Negative 1.2 is less than 0.8. Here we have two negatives. We have negative 1.4 and negative 1.25. Remember, it's a good idea to think of a 0 behind the 4. So negative 1.40 is going to be further to the left than negative 1.25. It's more negative, so it's going to be smaller. So that's a less than. Down here, we have a negative 50% and a negative 0.5. So when you have a percent, they're both negatives. You have a percent and you have a decimal. So I'm changing in my head 0.5 to a percent by moving it 2 times the right. So this would also be a negative 50%. So those are equal. This one, I have negative 3/8. So when I take 3 divided by 8, I get negative 3.75. And when I take 5 divided by 16, I get negative 3.125. So 3/8 was negative 3.750. So that's going to be more negative. So that one is also going to be less than. Okay, our next slide, slide 31, I went ahead and highlighted them so I could talk about. It says which number is further from 0. So we have negative 3/4 and 62.5%. So if I take 3 divided by 4, I get negative 0.75. That's a decimal. So if I move it 2 times to the right, I get negative 75%. So a negative 75% is going to be further from a positive 62.5%. Here, 7 divided by 8 is 0.875. So 0.875 is going to be further from 0 than 0.8. Here, a negative 6.83 repeating is going to be further from 0 than a positive 5. Here, 3/4 is 0.75. So this would be a negative 2.75. Which if I want to change it to a percent, then it would be a negative 275%. So that one's going to be further from 0. And here I have a negative 4.5 or a negative 4.50 versus a negative 4.49. Okay, slide 32 says ordering rational numbers from least to greatest. So down here, I went ahead and wrote those down as decimals. I did 13 divided by 20 and got a negative 7.65. Left negative 7.78 alone, and 17 divided by 100 is 0.17. So the number that is the least is the one that's going to be furthest from 0 since they're all three negative. So we think we can agree that negative 7.78 would be the least. Okay, and then negative 7.65 would come next, which is this first one. And that leaves us with the negative 7.17 or negative 1700ths. Okay, our last slide says order them from least to greatest. So I think it's a good idea to pick out your negatives first. So that's why I am highlighting those or filling them in with color, because if I'm going from least to greatest, I want to take care of my negatives first. So this is a fraction. 3 divided by 4 gives you 0.75. So negative 2.75 and negative 2.2 repeating. So this one is going to be your least. Followed by that one, if I can get them to move. There we go. Okay, I'm running out of time, but that would be next. And then 280%, remember, is 2.80. So that's positive, so that would be next. And then 3 1/8 would be your greatest number. So go ahead and drag those together. Negative 2 3/4, negative 2.2 repeating, 280%, and 3 1/8.